Okay, I have hit record. Makes us official. I'm going to admit people here. All right. Okay. See. All right, it is 9 o'clock on the dot. Good morning, everybody. You are at the 9 a.m. session in the Arts and Communication field for our Career Planning for Graduation and Beyond virtual series. The PowerPoint for today is on the main website, and if there's any changes that Brian has, we will update and put a new one on there. And if there's anything else he wants to share, we will put that up there as well. My name is Carrie Hunter. I'm a Career Tech Planning District Consultant out of Southwest Ohio. We cover 6 counties. I think the best counties, but I might be biased. We'll go with it. So without further ado, I have hit record, which is important. And now let me get all my tech working here. Hold on one second here. All right. And here it is right now, contact info. Also, I will put up, once Brian starts talking, the link for the Google site. You've already been there because that's how you access this. Okay. And then, let's see here. Why is this not looking? Oop, let me back up here. All right. So, a little bit about our speaker today. Brian Castle Jr., he is the Senior Director of Learning Partnerships for AVID Learning. He is known as a dynamic leader in media technology training. And what's interesting is he began his career as a freelance editor and director before transitioning into post-production workflow training, curriculum design, and now program management. He now leverages his industry and classroom experience, developing engaging programs and impactful partnerships. So everybody, please welcome Brian Castle. All right, Brian, I'm going to stop my sharing so that you can do your sharing.
All right, sounds good. Can you hear me okay? We'll start there.
I think you sound great. Anybody else? Thumbs up. All right, it's looking good.
All right, and one more tech check. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it looks great.
Excellent. All right, so let's get started. I believe I have about 30 minutes or so, and we'll move quickly through this. Here's how I've laid out today's presentation. Just first off, who is AVID? A lot of times that's a basic question that needs to be answered. We'll talk about our learning programs. We'll talk about the curriculum and certification. I'll touch on pricing because I know that's always a question, but we can certainly get into the details of that offline. And then just kind of what the process looks like to get started. The first question of how who is AVID is an important one. If you are in music and audio, if you are at all involved in the commercial side of that business, you tend to know who AVID is by our flagship product, Pro Tools. It is kind of the industry standard, the de facto tool on which all commercial music is produced. I'm going to start with a video to kick that off. It's better to hear from our industry partners and artists rather than hearing it just from me.
Pro Tools, as far as my workflow goes, is pretty much my foundation for everything. It's home base, it's where I cut vocals, it's how I make beats, it's how I come up with ideas as far as, any type of instrumental part. Everything lives within that environment, and to me, it just makes so much sense how it works and makes my life so much easier because anything I need to do, the workflow, Pro Tools just kind of goes with my personality of how I like things to be organized, but also still have that creative free flow.
To a student, I would say, if you want to work in a commercial studio as a recording engineer or a mixer, 90% of commercial studios use Pro Tools. So yeah, I would definitely learn it. properly and be good on it and fast. It just keeps consistency over a whole project, which I think is really important. For me, for multi-track recording, when I was a tracking engineer, there wasn't anything else that I would ever use, and as a mixer now as well.
There's a number of reasons why Pro Tools is the standard for production in audio, right? The fact that it's in any commercial studio, it's given me the ability of visualizing things, having the control that I need on mixing for me to see and be able to manipulate every single aspect of the song.
For one, it's used in all the major studios because of the scalability of the system in place, but it's also just the workflow is so suited to recording, to mixing. Once you learn a couple of shortcuts, you're on your way to already, you know, becoming a great engineer.
There's a reason it's called Pro Tools. Like, it's in those environments because it's the most reliable and the most detailed in terms of recording audio.
Pro Tools just has the most flexibility. Pro Tools understands the professional workflow. They understand how I want to be unbound in my creative expression while I am working in the software. So Pro Tools just opens the door up to create however and whatever you absolutely want. I love that it's a blank canvas with every tool that you need to get busy.
It's the best sounding program, in my opinion, as far as the mixing. With any tool, it's important to commit it to muscle memory so you can be quick and fluid and be able to not think about what you're doing, you just do it. So yeah, it's like, at this point, it's kind of like a part of who I am. It's my tools, it's my paintbrushes, it's my paints.
I can do a session from home, take that session and go into any studio where they need me to work. And I know that it's going to work seamlessly. I'm not going to have any problems and it's faultless.
My workflow is very quick in it. I think I would hinder my workflow if I went to another DAW. When I'm in the creation process, Pro Tools is a one-stop shop for me.
So some of the big misconceptions about Pro Tools is that, for example, only people like myself, studios use it. It's a very accessible, you know, it's great for making music, great for producing music. If you want to record yourself, it's super easy, super intuitive, and it only takes learning a few little things and you're up and running.
The technology has evolved so much, and it's just so powerful now, you know, to own basically many multi-million-dollar studios, and you can literally put it on a laptop. It's just,
It's incredible.
it's incredible now, you know, it's like a dream.
The packages that they offer now for people for Pro Tools when they're first starting off with, if I had that one, like, that was like $100,000 rig, like 10, 11 years ago, you know what I'm saying? And like, that's the exciting part about it, because it's like people are having more access to it, and we're gonna get a lot of kids that probably never would have gotten into music are gonna get the opportunity to discover music, and you know, we're gonna find the next great artist, you know what I'm saying? And Pro Tools provides that access, and it's amazing.
I always tell up-and-coming producers, learn Pro Tools. I'm telling you, that's gonna up your stock, it's gonna up your value as a producer. Just as somebody in this industry as a creative. If this is what the big boys is using, this is what I need, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna keep you busy, it's gonna keep you working, because even if they don't call you for beats, they might call you for engineer, or they might call you to mix.
Once you've gotten into it and doing it professionally, Pro Tools is the toy. It's the toy of choice. That's nothing short of magic.
All right, so there you get a sense from people far more experienced in the music industry than I, about the importance and the relevance of Pro Tools. You know, AVID as a company has built our reputation on servicing the high end of the industry. We are the industry standard across so many segments of media and entertainment. So even as students think about getting into music, think about going into careers in audio, the other thing about knowing Pro Tools is that it is the platform on which the overwhelming majority of post-production sound, so sound for film and TV, sound for screen, is also done. And so here on this, on this slide, you're seeing a sampling of the many enterprise level companies that have standardized their workflows on AVID, and having the skill set of the tools that these companies know, that these companies use, of knowing the workflows that they're using, advantages your students as they're going out into the workplace, looking for those entry-level jobs. Couple marketing stats: all the major studios, leading international news networks, overwhelming majority of what we're seeing and hearing on streaming services is all done with AVID tools. Just as we have a global network of customers, so too do we have a global network of educational partners. Currently, we have well over 600 colleges and universities around the world that are utilizing, that are members of our Learning Partner Program, that are utilizing AVID tools, that are preparing their students with certification to go into the marketplace. And the advantage for you at the high school level in thinking about taking on these programs and preparing your students is that this presents for them a seamless opportunity as they're going forward. Do they want to go to college? Do they want to go straight into their career? You're really equipping them either way with those skills. This is just a small sampling of the 300 plus partners that we have across the Americas. You can see here everything from a municipal high school on up through elite top tier universities. And where we do have a good number of high schools participating in the program already, the exciting thing for them is that the program is designed so that students who achieve certification at the high school level and go on to community college, they're facilitating articulation agreements and other things that the students can move straight in and get credit for the work that they've done at the high school level. The overwhelming majority of learning partners around the world are academic institutions. So I had this image up a moment ago, but this is very much a day in the life of an AVID learning partner. The program is built on really 4 basic kind of key benefits. Certification for students is the primary value of this program. It is really the focus of it. AVID offers a lot of educational resources for free. You can access free software. You can access free learning resources. But really, this program is built around driving certification and preparing students with that broad foundational skill set that they need to go into industry. To do that, though, we do provide a complete pre-built curriculum, complete with all of the media resources that you need. We also offer teacher training to prepare you with the skills that you need. Many teachers come into this program. They have an awareness of music and audio. They have varying levels of skill, but we offer teacher training to fully skill you up to be prepared to teach this level of usership among your students. And then we do offer a key part of this program is the discount software licenses. The discounts in this program are designed to make it accessible to schools and also even to allow you to kind of move your budgetary dollars around a little bit. Many of the schools that come into this program that are already using Pro Tools, I don't know if any of you do already, but if you are already using Pro Tools, oftentimes those discounts can enable you to kind of move around some of your budgetary dollars and be able to invest in some additional hardware, which is always nice. I'm going to keep rolling straight into curriculum and certification. We'll take some time at the end to do a Q&A. Excuse me. Okay, so in terms of the curriculum and certification, taking your students through this pre-built curriculum is a very straightforward process. And it results in certification that is recognized by industry, and that really is a key aspect of this program. The AVID user certifications have been around for where are we? 2024? Yeah, we've been around for over 20 years now with our user certifications. They're well known, well recognized by industry, and in the state of Ohio are also recognized for CTE funding, which is nice. The way that we are delivering all of our content now is on a platform that is a digital first platform. Learning has changed. We started with print books. We've gone to ebooks. Those are still available for those who are interested. But today, all of our content is designed natively for online streaming. And the majority of our partners are moving to AVID Learning Central, which is our learning management system in the content delivery platform. This is a 1-minute video. I'll play this and then we'll talk about that platform.
Educators know students are hungry for knowledge. With ever-changing technologies and tools, how do students and educators keep up? With AVID Learning Central, the essential companion of any AVID instructor-led course. AVID Learning Central keeps students and educators up to date and on track anytime, anywhere, on any device. From hands-on in the classroom to developing deeper skill sets of the tools used by professionals in the industries, AVID Learning Central provides full, in-depth courses plus snackable learning to help students reach their potential with our award-winning tools, Media Composer, Pro Tools, and Sibelius. Detailed courses provide interactive learning, exercises, and knowledge checks, keeping students on track. With AVID's comprehensive content library at your students' fingertips, you can explore additional skills and interests, including graphics, newsroom, and technical content. Your students can develop the skills needed in the competitive world or train for roles seamlessly with an extensive catalog designed to help any learner succeed. See how far they can go with automated enrollments and detailed reporting at every step. Set your students in motion for a lifetime of learning. Put the power of learning in the palm of their hands with AVID Learning Central.
So as I said, this is now the kind of native format in which we're developing all of our content and delivering it to our schools. It is delivered on an LMS that is simple, is modern, very easy to navigate, and makes for a fantastic learning experience both for your students and also for your students. We were moving in this direction anyways. A silver lining of pandemic is that it accelerated a lot of trends across many industries. And in learning, that was no different. I'm sure you guys all, remember kind of the rapid adaptation that we all had to make when pandemic hit. And we all had to figure out very quickly, how do we run our classes online and at a distance? So it accelerated the development for us of more robust e-learning content and better delivery systems. AVID Learning Central really provides to your students the opportunity to learn in a very kind of intuitive way for them. And one of the things that has been a huge benefit is that being fully mobile friendly, unlike an ebook, right? If you're navigating an ebook on a tablet or on a phone, right, you're pinching, you're zooming, you're panning around the screen. All of the content that we deliver through our platform, fully mobile friendly. So you can see here in some of the animations, the way that, it adjusts to like the size of a phone. All of our students are on mobile devices all of the time, and it really gives them a better learning experience. What this has enabled for the majority of our schools is that, many of them now are flipping the classroom, and it's a better interaction between the student and the teacher. The teacher isn't spending their time, just presenting the material. Instead, they're using class time to help the students really dig in, uncover the gaps in the students' understanding from having gone through the material initially on their own. And this platform is really doing more of the heavy lifting in teaching those concepts to your students initially, where then the teachers can come in and really bring the value that teachers offer, which is to understand students and help explain things in a way that maybe the student didn't, make that connection the first time. In terms of the amount of content, though, we've really taken the approach of Netflix. It's all in the library. And so when you sign in, when your students sign in, they have full access to the full range of content that AVID has to offer across all of our platforms, all of our products. Now, I know this particular session, we're talking about, music and audio. So there is content in there for our platform, for our product called Sibelius, which is music notation. The majority, of course, of the content that you'd be interested in would be with Pro Tools. And in addition to the structured courses that lead to certification, we have a broad range of additional videos. There's approximately 300 hours of content in there just on Pro Tools. So that, teachers who want to kind of give their own class a little bit more of a spin, tailor it in one direction or another. If you are kind of doing a bit more with audio and video for a multimedia program, you can do more, for example, assigning additional videos on MIDI and how to use MIDI in Pro Tools. On the other hand, if it's very much a music program and you really want to focus on kind of live recording techniques, well, you can assign more of those, and that allows you that customization. In terms of the structured courses, though, that lead to certification, we do have 2 courses, And this was intentionally split up, kind of a theme of the program that we run is we try to maximize flexibility of how schools can implement this. That broad range of schools that I showed at the beginning, that included everything from a high school up to top tier universities. That's only possible by offering a very flexible program. We focus on the operation of the software and teaching students the professional workflows, but we provide these resources in a flexible way that we're not dictating how you teach in the classroom, how your program is designed. And that's, again, a kind of a hallmark of the programs that we've designed. This two-course structure reinforces that, or is a part of that. In Pro Tools Fundamentals 1, or PT 101, students learn the basic interface. Really, it's just an introduction to the program. They learn the basic interface, the basic workflows, kind of the basic tool set. And the focus of that is to enable students to get into the application and really complete a creative project on their own. So if they want to get in there, they want to record their own sound, their own song, they want to mix it, they want to put it out so that it can be heard by the world, right? They're going to share it online. They're going to, play it live for people. Pro Tools 101 allows them to kind of develop those skills. PT 110, Pro Tools Fundamentals 2, really takes it to the next level, where they're starting to learn the professional workflows and the tasks associated with being, being like a studio tech. And so it's preparing them for those entry-level positions. They get a greater awareness of the professional workflows, who does what, kind of the, what some of those more advanced tasks are. And it prepares them, like I said, for those entry-level positions where they would go in as a studio tech to be supervised by somebody else. Now, our content actually is available publicly. It's, you can buy the ebooks off the AVID website. You can even subscribe to AVID Learning Central without joining the program. But again, the Learning Partner Program is about preparing your students for certification and helping them achieve that credential, which then carries weight for them out in the marketplace. Early this year, no, it's 24. So early last year, 2023, we moved to digital credentialing on a platform called Credly. This is the dominant digital credentialing platform out there today. And this allows students to easily share their credential on all of the social platforms. It gives them those downloadable certificates. And the nice thing about this is that it is blockchain encrypted, verifiable, so that any employer who wants to verify that credential, where was it issued, what training was, did that student go through, it's there. And also for the student, this is a resource because it ties their credential to jobs that are currently open in the market. And students can actually go in here. It's tied to a number of different job sites. And so they can actually go out and look for jobs based on the credential, based on the skills that they have. Now, I mentioned, this is kind of beyond the scope of high school, but I mentioned that we have a broad program that has universities in it, community colleges, state schools, universities, and they go on to teach students at higher levels. So that specialist certification that your students would be achieving would flow straight into more advanced training that they could achieve at community college, at a state school, if they want to go that path to higher education. Likewise, we have professional training centers where a student who just goes straight to work in the industry after a couple of years wants to upskill, they can go to a professional training center, take a 2-day, 5-day course, and achieve these next levels of certification to keep upskilling. I mentioned Sibelius a moment ago. We also have Sibelius. It's not the focus of this particular talk, but if anybody would like information about using Sibelius for music notation in a music program, we also offer curriculum and certification for Sibelius. So that's our course content. That's how it's designed. That's how it's delivered to your students. That's the structure of our certification programs. I will say, let me just go back to this slide just for one more point of context here. This 2-course structure, I'm sure folks are wondering kind of how long these courses are, how much time does it take? There are about 20 contact hours per course. This can be achieved in a single year at the high school level, but many of our high school partners do choose to spread this over a couple of years because there's a lot of other learning objectives that you may have in teaching recording arts and teaching how to use microphones and what happens in a studio and those kinds of things. So again, flexibility there in how you deliver it, but it is possible to deliver both these courses in 1 year. PT 101 happening in the first semester, PT 110 happening in the second semester. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about teacher certification. Like I said, we do offer instructor enablement that is designed to support you, equip you with the operational skills that you need, and then also make sure that you understand the design and use of the course books, how you're going to implement those, teach you best practices in presenting these concepts if you're new to them, and then of course we prep you for the exams. The way that our teacher enablement program is structured, it is done entirely online. We present it as a 6-week blended learning experience. There is some prep work. We provide the materials to you. There's some prep work that you have to do on your own and asynchronously. We find that works best to fit into busy teacher schedules. And then the majority of the time commitment happens in a 1-week virtual online instructor-led course. There is also then a little bit of follow-up tasks, completing your exams, teachbacks, those kinds of things. And that way it provides, again, maximum flexibility in how you're going to complete this. One of the things that we adopted some years ago, though, is that this process is a dual credentialing training. So you actually achieve the end user certification of Pro Tools Specialist, the same one that you're preparing your students for, as well as the corresponding instructor level certification. Now, this one happens, the one on the screen happens to be for instructor level 2. To teach the specialist level, you would be instructor level 1, just for clarification. There is a prerequisite that you have some experience either with our tool or a few years on a competitive app, and that would be like Adobe Audition, Logic, Apple Logic, Ableton Live, some of these other DAWs that are out there. But the idea is that, a DAW is a DAW. There's a lot of commonalities between them. So even if you're new to Pro Tools but have experience on a competitive app, we'll help you transfer those skills through this process to get up to speed quickly on Pro Tools. Okay, so let's talk about benefits and pricing just a little bit. There is a broad range of benefits that come with the program, including official ALP status. You get listed on our website. You yourself actually become a testing center. And one thing I failed to mention is that with the purchase of the course content, the certification exams is included. There is no separate fee for that. So it's an all-inclusive bundle, course content and certification exams for students. And in fact, you will set up and deliver your own exams. It's the way the program is structured. It provides maximum flexibility and allows you to schedule those exams on your own time. You also become a member of the AVID Community Association and our learning partner community. There are forums, there's a newsletter, we run annual events, and there's a lot of benefit there being tied into that broader community of instructors around the world. Literally, there isn't a week that doesn't go by that I don't see things either on our forum, our Facebook group, or our mailing list where folks are saying, hey, how do I do this? Or I've run into this issue. And there's just kind of that hive mind of global support for each other in providing those answers. Now, in terms of pricing, the benefits of this program are scalable. So we're all familiar with the idea, the more you buy, the cheaper it gets. Well, in this program, the more you teach, the cheaper it gets. For a flat rate of membership, you can actually be receiving Pro Tools software, Media Composer software, Sibelius software, and it just becomes scalable. Price doesn't change, just the software that you're receiving, and therefore the cost per seat goes down. As a price point, common kind of level of partnership for schools is 25 seats of software in the classroom. Many classrooms have 18, 20, 25 workstations in them. And so this is a very common level. So a price comparison here, standard EDU pricing with AVID is approximately $100 per seat. Looks like I failed to update this one. It does reference Media Composer licenses. The same thing is true for Pro Tools. But in any case, so if you have a 25-seat lab, it typically would cost you about $2,500 to outfit that lab with software. And in this program, it's $1,875. So there's a 25% savings off of the already discounted EDU licensing costs. Now, if you were to, for example, also be teaching Sibelius, you get your instructor certified to teach Sibelius, you're teaching both products, you actually be receiving 25 Pro Tools and 25 Sibelius for the cost of $1,875. So again, the benefits become scalable, even though the cost stays the same. Now, in terms of pricing for the student bundle of course content and certification exams, that's approximately $100 per student. There is a little bit of volume pricing there, so we can get into details based on your, whatever your particular use case is. But it's about $100 per student for course content and certification exams. So as you think about kind of the overall cost of the program, you can use that as a round number for factoring your budget. Okay, just to wrap up fairly quickly here, in terms of the process of getting started, it's pretty straightforward. We do have different resellers who will be happy to work with you on the purchase process. And really what it comes down to is that there's two sides to that equation. I've kind of already alluded to it, where the school and the organization gets signed up to the program. There's some paperwork involved with that, a simple contract that kind of authorizes you to be doing that training and delivering certification. And there's the payment of those annual fees. And with that comes the distribution of licenses. The instructors also need to be certified before you're ready to implement the program, start training and certifying your students. And those two processes, are really kind of, they're not sequential. They can run in parallel. So, whichever way works better for your program, we can get you started doing the, getting signed up, going through the contracting process in anticipation of when you need your licenses. Or, which would be pretty common this time of year here in January, we'd probably start looking at instructor certification first, get your instructors certified, help them start their course planning for next year, and then probably joining the program in the summertime in anticipation of running that next school year. So again, flexible process. Okay, I think I'm on time, about 30 minutes for the presentation. So we'll go ahead and pivot to Q&A, and I can answer your additional questions.
So there's one question in the chat right now. How early can students start the courses or certification? Is it high school, junior high, senior high only?
In high school, just full stop in high school. We do have some schools that are doing it with undergrads. The majority of our schools, just because of how they've set up their arts programs, tends to do it in the junior, senior year with upperclassmen. But we do have schools that are successfully running it with younger students.
Okay. And then do the certifications expire?
Great question. End user certifications, AVID has taken the approach that end user certifications do not expire. They are tied to a particular version of the software, and we do versioning by year. So it will be evident the student achieved that certification in 2024 or 2025. And, that will be particularly valuable in 25 and 26 and 27. In 2030, it'll have less relevance, right? But by then we would expect the students to be, continuing on to more advanced certifications and on into career. So. Okay, Tola, talk more about the articulations. In terms of articulations, really it comes down to the structure of how we've done our curriculum and certifications. And so it is kind of a seamless process where the completion of lower level courses serve as prerequisites to higher level courses and certifications. Nothing revolutionary, pretty standard model in education. And so what that's allowed our partners to do is, obviously there's a whole aspect of this, within the Department of Education for their respective state. But by teaching the same core content and offering the same certifications, it's allowed very easily for high schools to articulate with community colleges, or in some cases with community colleges to have articulation agreements with a 4-year state school that has a bachelor program, and the students would be going on there. Again, we've kind of baked it into the way that we've structured the program. They then take that and can very easily build an articulation agreement based on their own districts or state requirements. Does that answer the question, Tola? Brenda, I have to admit, I don't remember right now how many credential points are earned with the Ohio Path. So that's something I'm going to have to take offline, and we'll kind of figure out how to get that answer back to you.
What we can do is once we figure that out, we will post like a separate sheet, or actually we can put it on the website. You'll see a couple other speakers have that info. I apologize. Yeah, most of them look like 4 points. It just depends on which ones the students earn. But I would say spot on. Thanks for adding that.
I'm
And
just
then,
taking a note. We can, Carrie, maybe we can post a Q&A.
yeah, well, I think that'd be great. Yeah, these are great questions. So accessibility, that's one of our big things, of course, which you and I talked about. You mentioned that there still are hands-on books that, you can use if you need the print material. Closed captioning, is that an option, or does that if someone has a closed captioning program, does that work well with your platform?
Yeah, let me talk more about that. And I'm glad you brought it up because I'd forgotten to add it to the presentation. In terms of accessibility options, we have a number of things that we provide. In terms of format of the course content, as I mentioned before, we do offer printed books, downloadable ebooks, or the online content in Avid Learning Central. The advantage to, well, print books, we're all familiar with those. We know the benefits of print books where it's where it's appropriate. In terms of ebooks, the advantage of ebooks is that they are downloadable. You don't need online access for them. They work great with screen readers. And so, some students prefer to be working with ebooks. The other thing, of course, you can scale the text. That is also true for our online platform as well. Now, in terms of the online platform, we're building in closed captioning. We don't have 100% closed captioning right now. In terms of using it with a separate closed captioning program that would process that audio in real time, it does play out of the core audio of your system. So presumably it would work fine. Carrie, I can't say 100%. If you want to point me in the direction of one of those applications, then certainly we could test it and we could give a definitive answer on it. Okay. In terms of accessibility in the use of the application, Pro Tools is one of the most accessible DAWs for visually impaired students. There's actually additional plugins like Flow Tools, which was developed by a blind professor at Berklee School of Music, that is designed to be able to drive the program with very limited sight. We do have fully blind users who, with some kind of minimal assistance to get things set up, can then operate Pro Tools without any vision. So from an application perspective, it's a very accessible platform. In terms of the exams, which is another area that we end up with, with a lot of questions about accessibility. For students who have an IEP, who have any sort of documented learning disability, also for students for whom English is a second language, for example, is another use case that we deal with. We offer time and a half or time and a half on the exam, or whatever is dictated by the IEP. And that's something that the teacher, in setting up the exam, has the ability to provide the additional time that's documented. In terms of use of our online platform, both for learning and for the exam, you do have scalability of font, so that for visually impaired, they're able to have a better user experience. Did I miss any use cases?
No, that was great. Okay. And as far as the content, it looks like pacing can be up to the student, what's best for the student and the teacher, as far as, it's not, do you have, an hour to do this, as far as like a time constraint.
Correct. Yeah. Entirely up to the teacher and the student in terms of how you structure your program, how quickly you move them through that. Like I said, that 2-course structure was intentionally designed to provide more flexibility. So we have some high schools that choose to do, like the PT 101, which is only 20 hours. And not even all of that is, a lot of that can be done asynchronously. We have schools that will do that in a whole year, and other schools that will do that in a fraction of a year. We even have a high school that will take students through it in one semester. But that's how they've structured their program. It's just, we're going to take you through the Pro Tools training, and then the rest of the year and your senior year, it's going to be all project work. So we're going to build that skill set, and then we're going to practice all the way through. So again, a lot of flexibility in how you implement.
Okay.
Is there flexibility? I'm sorry. Is there flexibility in the instructor-led? I mean, the instructor. I thought you said it was 6 weeks, 5 weeks, self-paced in 1 week. But if we have some music artist who is very proficient in AVID, I mean, does he still have to go through the whole 6 weeks, or? I'm just wondering.
Kind of the core of that is that 1 week instructor-led training, and that's approximately 24 hours in that workshop. That's the piece that they would have to complete. And so kind of the rest of the time that we've built into that experience for the asynchronous prep and wrap up, if they're very experienced, they don't really need to spend a lot of time in the rest of that. They're able to move very, very quickly through it. Oh, Maddie, that's very interesting. I will look into that. I'm seeing in the chat that Sibelius is not recognized in the state of Ohio. So that's something that I will look into. Julie, good question. Do the computers for the labs need any specific abilities? For example, sometimes Chromebooks won't handle, and I just lost it, won't handle the needs. Chromebooks will not run Pro Tools. So if you are Chromebook based, to adopt this program, you'd have to look at, getting some other workstations in the classroom. Most schools, I think, run iMacs, but Pro Tools itself is cross-platform. So if your district or your school needs to be on PC systems, that's fine. Pro Tools will run. There are minimum system requirements, and we can provide those. I can provide a link to those so that you can see what they are. This year, we released a new kind of component of Pro Tools. It's actually a separate application that runs on iOS. Android is coming, where it's called Pro Tools Sketch, and it's a clip-based launcher, a lot like Ableton and other apps, where students can create nonlinear musical compositions where they're creating the structure of the song, experimenting with different loops, and able to build out kind of the again, just the overall musical sketch before taking it into Pro Tools. And this is created some really cool and exciting opportunities in the classroom, because now even just on an iOS device, students are able to start kind of their musical creation at home before coming into the classroom, bringing it into Pro Tools. So there are options there for students working on mobile devices, but in terms of the workstations that will run Pro Tools, there are minimum system requirements. The one that typically gets schools is the RAM requirement. I believe that minimum is 8 gig, and so that's typically the conversation that we end up having is, hey, do we have enough RAM in our systems? But we'll, as part of the Q&A, we'll provide the link to minimum system requirements.
That's a great question so far.
So, Julie, I'm not sure I fully understand the question. In terms of having access to the content, or having access outside of school, course content would be online, so that's accessible anywhere they have internet access. In terms of them using the software, Pro Tools Sketch is a free application that's available for iOS. So that's accessible outside of the classroom. There's also a free version of Pro Tools called Pro Tools Intro that at the high school level really is pretty much all a student needs. When you start getting into more serious arts programs where the students are spending a year or two just on music technology or recording arts or those kinds of things, they're going to want to step up to a more advanced version of Pro Tools. And a lot of what that comes down to is the number of tracks that they're able to work with. You remember in that video, you saw, some of the professional monitors, they had dozens of tracks laid out. But in terms of the student getting started using Pro Tools outside the classroom, yes. In terms of, them being able to go through the training and certification, that's limited to the school and the classroom. So I don't know if I've understood or answered your question, but if not, please clarify for me. Teacher certification, $14.95 with early bird discounts that bring it to $13.95. Yes. The free programs are Pro Tools Sketch, available in the Apple App Store, Pro Tools Sketch, and Pro Tools Intro. And that's available on the AVID website.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your time. We know you're coming back again for video at 11. So
yes.
Everyone, please look at the website in a week or so with the updated FAQ and other information. And thank you for your questions. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your sessions.
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
All right. I will see you later.
We'll see you in a bit. Thanks, Carrie.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye.